Now, key to Africa's economic growth is trust among all role players contributing to its economic expansion. As the African Continental Free Trade Area unlocks new opportunities, trust will be critical in ensuring equitable access to the digital economy, fostering inclusive innovation and mobilizing investments in green technologies. For more, we're joined by Punki Modise, who's the Chief Strategy and Sustainable Officer at Absa Group. Punki, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. As we take stock of some of the robust discussions and talks at the World Economic Forum, what has stood out for you as leaders come together to discuss the aspects?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I think the critical maybe starting point is around the issue of trust that you've just spoken to. So, to your point, I think trust is the glue really that holds partnerships together. And without it, in my view, is we can't address Africa's most pressing challenges. The president has spoken a lot during the conference around the issue of, solidarity, inequality. My sense is therefore that, when you look at inequality as an example, unemployment as well as climate change, in this age, of intelligence, where technology and innovation are reshaping economies, trust has to be, the critical thing that we focus on, because it does encourage, collaboration, and government and business and civil society have to, in the process work together to align their goals. And I think my sense also is that, with trust, you build a lot of confidence, particularly, with, investors that bring the much needed, capital across into our, economies. Finally, I will talk to the issue of accountability. So trust does ensure accountability because it creates systems where people and organizations are able, to be held accountable for delivering, in particular, on promises.
Yeah. As you talk about rebuilding trust, it is essentially the cornerstone for collaboration. What role can stakeholders play, like government, civil society, businesses, in finding ways to collaborate on solutions, both internationally and within society?
Yeah, I think, if you look at Africa in particular, my sense is that, the continent has an opportunity to lead the world, in sustainability as well as prioritizing transparency and also ethical governance. So if I look at, for example, in Morocco, one of the world's, largest solar power plants is basically a shining example, and it combines both global funding, I think, with local benefits. In the back end of that, lots of jobs have been created, and also, emissions have been reduced, broadly putting, Africa on the map as a leader in clean energy. And also, when you look at South Africa, we've also done, similar. And I do think that as we go forward, South Africa has a similar potential, especially through its Just Energy Transition Partnership.
As you talk about lots of jobs being created, how can private sectors and public sectors invest in human capital development and good jobs that essentially contribute to the development of modern and resilient societies? Because investing in people is going to be one of the most key areas when it comes to new opportunities, and trust being so central.
Yeah, so I think that's an important question, Paul. And in my view is, if you look at, artificial intelligence as an example, what it's doing, in its simplest form is it's creating capacity for, humankind and for people to really think in an exponential way. To that effect, there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be laid out to help support, with the transition into, this new digital age. And with investments, going into infrastructure, lots of job opportunities come about. I think for me, what is interesting is if you think about artificial intelligence, it's really going to drive the need for more data centers, as an example. And a data center, in its simplest form, it's almost similar to a grid, which means that, there's lots of grids that need to be created across the world. Yeah. And surely there should be opportunities, for job creation going forward.
I mean, that essentially means that business leaders will need to strike a balance between the short-term goals and long-term goals in the transformation of their industries.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which I think, even the president actually spoke to it. Yeah. The fact that, the private sector, this is the one thing that they do exceptionally well, to think about the short term whilst also solving, for the longer term. And it's about continuously finding that right balance between the two.
What the other issue was President Cyril Ramaphosa speaking quite a great deal about the crucial issue of climate change, as South Africa, of course, is currently the president of the G20. Ramaphosa spoke about how the platform creates an opportunity to elevate the continent, for one, and the Global South's development priorities on the G20 agenda. How do you think collaborative partnerships now help bridge these divides between the pledges and real world action, tangible world action?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my sense is, especially from a climate and sustainability perspective, Africa really does have an opportunity to lead the world, in sustainability, particularly by prioritizing, issues of transparency as well as ethical governance. So there's really three ways how I think about it. So firstly, when you've got transparency, investors are broadly drawn to countries where they know that their money will be used responsibly, and ethical governance ensures, accountability and also minimizes corruption, making Africa a destination, particularly for the green investment. The second piece is around, leveraging the, Africa Free Continental, trade agreement. Yeah. I think with the trade area, Africa can create, regional supply chains for renewable energy, boosting broadly, I think, trade across the entire continent, whilst also promoting sustainability. And I think the president spoke significantly to the issue of Africa being endowed with mineral resources. Through those mineral resources, we've got a great opportunity that we can extract, from value addition, and also ensuring that, more and more jobs are created locally, for people that reside in areas where these mines are, or the areas where, the energy is going to be extracted from.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for weighing in on this discussion. As we leave it there, of course, speaking there to Punki Modise, who's Chief Strategy and Sustainability Officer at Absa Group.